Hi, my name is Monica Alford. I am the founder and CEO of Wildside Media, and I'm back in Legacy Sessions today with Manuela Goyanes, who is the artistic director of Woolly Mammoth Theater Company.
Yes, hello.
Thank you so much for being here today.
So happy to be here with you and Iris.
Yes, we off camera we have my elderly Boston Terrier. Oh, as she's making this is her big debut. There she is. She has not been in studio yet.
With her tongue out, which is so cute.
She's lost a lot of teeth, and so her tongue just sort of hangs out. But yes, this is Iris's big day in studio. So we're super excited to have Maria in studio. Wildside and inside Legacy Session Studio, by the way. But Maria and I have been working together this spring and summer. I'm very excited. It's a new partnership between Wildside and Woolly Mammoth, just to storytell and amplify all the amazing shows that Woolly has put out at the end of the 2024 season. So I'd like to kick things off by just seeing how you're doing, because I know this is the end of a really big season.
Like, how are the circles under my eyes?
Non-existent. But I know you're on the final week of your final production of Rose, You Are Who You Eat. So I would love to. I mean, I know about it, but if we want to remind listeners and viewers about it and tell them, why they should come check it out.
Yeah. So Rose, You Are Who You Eat is an amazing show by John Jarboe, who co-founded the Bearded Ladies, is an amazing artist in her own right. And this is a show we've been working on for a while. And so the fact that it's finally happening in DC again, it actually happened with Cultural DC for 2 nights, I think a couple of years ago. And it had such a wide reception that Christy Maiselman from Culture DC was like, we have to try and do this again. So we've got it at Woolly only for 1 more week. It's gotten great notices. People are loving it. The show is just heart-filled and just soul expanding. You sing at the end with her. I mean, you're going to walk out and sort of understand something around sort of the beauty of gender, actually, not how hard it is and how difficult and complicated it is, which it all is. It is that, for sure. But in addition to that, you also get sort of just I'm going to use some deliciousness. That's basically the beauty of it, and what it means to really sort of learn how to be who you are.
Absolutely, yeah. And I have to give a shout out to John. We just hosted a Walk on the Wild Side Pride Party on Saturday evening in Union Market District, and Maria presented John before she sang a version of "What's Up" by Four Non Blondes, which, by the way, is I don't do karaoke, but if I did, that would be my song. That's
oh my God,
jam.
I would love to see that.
But it was. I don't want to mess this up. It was a polka or a Polish.
There was a Polish song in the middle of it.
It's like a mashup, right?
It's a mashup sort of situation, and it's very interesting and funny, and John just does a beautiful job with it. And then she comes back into, what the heck is going on,
right?
Which is the chorus of the song.
Right. I just remember that watching the audience, everybody was like, okay, they're vibing with it, but it was definitely a surprise.
But they really sang along with the chorus, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. I feel like John is very good at keeping people on their toes, so I love that about her. Yeah. So, and I know that as soon as that wraps, you're basically ramping up for the first 4 shows of the next season of the 2024 summer and fall.
So this is the first time in a minute that we've had a summer show.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited about this because the show is called Ha 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 Ha.
I was counting all the ha's. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it is. It's 7.
Yeah, okay.
So if you are counting, And it's this incredible star from the Edinburgh Fringe. She then went on to do a sold-out run in London and Melbourne, has just been in New York, and now a ton of folks are just trying to get the show into their theater. I'm so thrilled that she's going to be able to come and be with us. So she essentially, she is here to help everybody's problems. And Lord knows this year in Washington, D.C., maybe we might have some problems at the moment. Maybe the election, is like that kind of thing. And so she's here to sort of be like, how can I help?
Right.
And then she really actually tries to solve the problem.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's very, very funny.
Yeah.
Very interactive and very sort of she was doing 3 a.m. shows in Edinburgh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see theater that late. That'd be really.
I know. I wish that the parking garages were open later in Washington D.C. That would be really helpful,
Yeah.
actually, for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we can all like pitch in and open a parking garage.
I think that'd be rad. Yeah. I mean, things happening after midnight, I think that's really important, especially in creative spaces.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool things happen after midnight, in my opinion. But I'm a creature of the night, so I'm biased.
Listen, I'm in the theater.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, so that opens July
17th, and it goes through through early August.
Okay.
And so it's only 3 weeks. So hopefully, get your tickets sooner rather than later. I know some folks who are making the road trip down from New York because they weren't able to get in.
Yeah.
So
that's also a nice treat because I feel like obviously theater slows down a lot in the summer in DC and nationally. So that'll be nice.
And you want to be inside, right? Because we have air conditioning.
That's right. We sure do. Yeah. Okay. And then what's up after that?
So then after that, well, guess what? This past weekend, Brandon Jacobs Jenkins won his first Tony Award.
Yep.
So cool. Grew up in DC. He won for Appropriate, which is a show that Woolly Mammoth did a while ago. And I'm just so thrilled for him. We're going to do his next project. We've done a lot of Brandon shows, actually. He's one of the most produced playwrights at Woolly, starting with Octoroon and Appropriate, then we did Gloria. So this show is called The Comeuppance. And it is actually set on a porch in Prince George's County. And it is a reunion, a 20-year reunion of a high school reunion for this group of friends who used to call themselves the Merge, the multi-ethnic reject group of high school.
I like that.
And they were all really good friends. And you know what happens when your friends group splinters off over time, and then you come back together and, try to find your way back to each other in some ways. And at the same time, there's this really an uninvited otherworldly guest that I'm not going to give away, who's hanging around maybe. It has Brandon's like signature wit. He is just like such a wonderful writer, and I'm thrilled for not just his success, but also to bring his work to Washington, because this is the place. I mean, it's even set in the area, right?
Yeah.
It's like this is the place where so much of it, it springs from these places for him.
Right. And I love that. I mean, I grew up in Northern Virginia, so, I think us locals, we have a lot of homegrown or hometown pride, around the DMV in general, and PG County in particular, I think.
Where'd you grow up in Northern Virginia?
Falls Church in Lake Barcroft.
Oh, wow. Okay, awesome.
And I mean, my grandparents were like one of the first couples to move in there in like the 50s, so we've been there a long time. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really special when creatives, especially that are making a name for themselves nationally, like Brandon, that's amazing, chose to come back here or to stay here because they're putting DC on the map in the ways that it deserves to be put on the map.
Well, and that it's a cultural center too, right? And that's the part where I feel like, you all are doing a great job in that, and that's what we're trying to do on the theater end. That's why I love being here, is like actually how dynamic the art scene is, the theater scene is. There are very few places in the country that are like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like shout out to PG County also, just that, Hyattsville and like Brentwood Arts Exchange and Pyramid. There's like all these great little artistic pockets that I think a lot of folks don't know about unless they're ingrained in that community. So I love that he's bringing more visibility to that.
Yeah.
So that's great.
So we did a show with the Wilma called My Mama and the Full-Scale Invasion by Sasha Denisova. It is... that was our first collaboration. It was a co-production, and so the comeuppance is the same. So we're basically taking our company of actors. It's going to be John Hudson Odom and Erica Rose this time, and they have their hothouse company of actors who are going to be also in the show and making a piece together. So it's going to be here in DC, and then it's going to go to Philadelphia. It's one of the things that I care a lot about is the future life of shows, and sort of making sure that what DC has to offer is also sort of getting out there in the world. I believe in making sure that the local community has that kind of platform and be able. It's just too bad sometimes when an artist works on a show for like 7 years and then they have like a one-night show or a two-night show or something like that. And so anything that we can do to kind of like not just signal this is an amazing art city, but also like you want to be a part of that too. You want to actually, there are stories here that are important to be told.
Yeah.
in the rest of the country. That feels important.
So, in terms of like maybe the ratio or the level of priority for a new show that's making its debut with Wooly, that might come from somebody that's part of your,
Network.
Yeah, versus something like, Christie and Cultural DC saying, oh my gosh, the Bearded Ladies and out of Philly and John Jarbo, we got to do this together. And then it's something that may have already happened somewhere else, but you're putting a very Woolly spin on it. And then the shelf life still continues. And then it still amplifies that show, that production, so it can go somewhere else,
Yeah, it's like force multiplying.
Yeah. So do you feel like Woolly leans in one direction more than the other, like debuting brand new works versus bringing them, into DC and then...
It's funny, we do a mix of both, right? So last year this past season, actually, we had 2 completely new world premieres.
Yep.
And so that was The Sensational Seaman-Cats and My Mama. And so in addition to having shows like John Jarbo's show and others that have come in, so I try to actually do a mix of both in some ways. To me, it's about sort of not just giving opportunity and employment to the folks who are here, for sure, there's no question about it, but also to to inspire us too and bring in other people, because DC is also a place where lots of people, it's like a gateway actually to the rest of the, not just country, but the world, right? And and I feel like, this was one of the things where this past season, like with The Jungle and Shakespeare Theater, was like, we really, really have to make sure that show comes to Washington, D.C. Like, to me, it's a travesty that it would go to places elsewhere in the country and never come here, when actually these are the folks who can actually do something around the refugee crisis. Like, This is crazy to me. So it's like trying to make sure that theater's at the table, but also DC is always at the table.
Yeah. And The Jungle, that was at Shakespeare, right?
Yeah. We co-presented it together, and they like turned the whole Harmon Hall into a big refugee camp. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And I know that they wouldn't have been able to do that without both of us doing that together.
Right,
so that feels important.
Yeah. Did you like that experience of collaborating with another theater in a bigger space? Would you want to do that again?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it depends on the project, right?
Sure.
Like, there's no world where we could have done a 40-person cast at Woolly Mammoth. Like, we have 2 dressing rooms. It's like, you can't actually fit all of those people at all, But depending on the project, we did something with Strathmore a couple of seasons ago, also Parable of the Sower, Toshi Regan, who also from the DMV area, did an adaptation of Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower. And it was, again, it's like 25 people doing this sort of opera concert epic piece. And I don't know, to me, we are stronger together. That's just as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I love that. I mean, I want to geek out with you another time on some things that could be fun in mixed-use spaces. Like, obviously, the production value of Macbeth was off the charts, but seeing it in a warehouse space like that, I was very dubious. I was like, why are we doing this here? And I was like, oh my God, because it feels like we're on a film set. This is insane.
I love it. I'm such a huge fan of like that site-specific kind of theater, and making
really fun.
Yeah, and making plays and making work that is specific to the place around you and feels like of that place. Sometimes I wish and want. Actually, I feel like that's what's happening, is that Washington, D.C. is our stage, right?
Yeah.
And and I'm excited to continue to explore that.
Yeah. Okay, well, I do want to hear about the other 2 shows. I did have one. No, you know what? You tell me about them first. I'll save my question till the end.
Yeah. So then during the comeuppance, actually, we're going to, towards the end of it, we're going to have a one night, maybe 2 night, but I think it's 1 night right now, special presentation of this project called the Ford Hill Project. So there's this really amazing theater company called Waterwell and Beth Marvel, who's like an incredible actor. I mean, if you just look her up, you will know that you have seen her in either House of Cards or Homeland or something like that. She's just been, and she's an incredible theater actor, Juilliard trained. Her and Lee Sunday Evans, who is the director of Waterwell and also a director, Obie Winnig director in her own right, took Anita Hill's testimony and Christine Blasey Ford's testimony and put them together.
Wow.
So 30 years apart, sort of seeing what happens, what resonates, and what kind of what opens up for us. So I'm really excited to share that as like a special presentation for everybody, especially, in in the fall for everybody to remember, my hope, for everybody to remember when they go to the ballot boxes. And then after that, we've got Second City coming back. So the Second City has been in Woolly's life for, oh my God, so long, since 2009. We've done so many shows together, Black Side of the Moon, She the People, Let Them Eat Chaos, spoiler alert, everybody dies. Like, there's so many different projects. And what I love about the Woolly and what I love about the Woolly and Second City collaboration is that we're the place where they get to go deeper, edgier, try new things, maybe go a little darker on some of the humor kind of stuff. And so the show that we have coming up for the holiday is Dance Like There's Black People Watching. It's going to be super, super fun. And I think, you know, again, like whatever happens this election season, we're all going to need to laugh and get some tension out, I think. So my hope is that people are going to want to come to Woolly and enjoy that. And it's just been really wonderful to be able to get back in with them and make a piece like this. So yeah, that's what we have. That's what we have coming up.
Yeah, that's some range.
I mean, that's it's a lot of range, but everything is all everything is kind of, again, like just pushing the envelope a little bit about what it is that we're trying to do, really trying to actually, I mean, you know, when you come to Woolly Mammoth, hopefully you're gonna laugh. Maybe sometimes you'll laugh and be like, should I be laughing? Right. Or maybe you're gonna laugh and be like, oh, of course, this makes sense, you know, and have a kind of like, I don't know, I hope a experience where it really does expand, you know, what it is that you think of the world, how you see the world. I've been sort of thinking about ways to talk about Woolly and what it means now in the future, and I've been thinking about sort of things like, you know, come and get your daring back. You know, it's like, this is we're a bold theater, and we want to, you know, hang out with folks who want to have those conversations, and you could, you know, I bet you're going to find some of it entertaining. It's not about being, you know, medicine or sort of like, you know, hitting you over the head about different issues and things. It's actually about having the bigger conversation and like actually getting to know each other as human beings in a different kind of way and seeing how complex and stunning the world is. And I think that's one of the things that I think about with Woolly a lot is like, you know, yeah, come and get your daring back.
I love that. That's great. Yeah, I mean, I think I've been saying this a lot in the past year in particular, in a post-COVID world, the idea of connectivity and folks just wanting to have conversations about real things and be more intentional about them. Whether it's a panel discussion or long-form journalism or on the stage or a post-show discussion or I really think that's something that we've been craving and we're hungry for, and I don't know, it just feels like we've reset in a really cool way.
I think that's true. I mean, knock on wood.
And I like get your daring back as a way more polished way of saying, I've always teased with, you know, you were saying you encourage folks to come in and push a little further with you. So I always talk about, you know, certain photographers I've shot covers with or people I've interviewed where I'm like, oh, they like working with me because I let them fly their freak flag real high. You know, like it's something like, but I like get your daring back better. That's more professional. But you know, but same kind of thing where it's like just explore a little bit more, have less, you know, boundaries, or be more willing to push the boundaries. You know, that's what exploratory. I think that's the best way to be. And have some, you know, hopefully have some really interesting conversation about it afterwards. You know? So absolutely. So that was kind of going to be my penultimate question around, you know, I think Woolly has done a lot of really amazing things that hopefully other local theaters and cultural institutions are looking to and learning from, and that's where I feel like Wildside comes in a lot and wants to support in general in the city with, you know, curating and things.
Thank you.
But just I feel like you've done such a wonderful job, even like with what's going on with Rose right now, of having these immersive experiences or these post-show discussions or like an LGBTQ plus night, all these different ways that more intimate audiences in more intimate spaces can keep the conversation going after seeing a show. So, you know, if you want to speak on anything you think has worked really well or you've been really excited about or something you might try to do with one of your 4 productions that you just shared.
Yeah, what I love about our space is that there's so many different places that you can actually have, like a gallery. You can do a pop-up. You can do lots of different things. We have different folks that we have worked with in terms of creating a kind of actually using the space for gallery exhibitions for local DC artists. So we have a relationship with the Hamiltonian, which is a gallery on U Street, which is fantastic. We also have Spit Dat, which does like, we do, essentially the longest running open mic in DC every month in our upstairs. The other thing about the connectivity of it is also about just like getting connected to our local organizations and communities, around us and helping each other, right? Creating a kind of interdependence that extends beyond just the shows on our stage. So we have this community core partner program, a connectivity core partner program specifically, where we have folks from, Mary Phillips in the indigenous community, Miss Chief Raka, they're coming in and doing some partnerships with us. We're doing big marketplaces. Actually, we're going to do a marketplace this summer where we invite local businesses in. We did a Native Arts marketplace. Like, there's so many different ways that we can actually, create platforms as well as activate Woolly Mammoth on behalf of not just the art on our stage, but also our local community.
Yeah, absolutely. There was one thing I wanted to ask you about, because I was just so mesmerized by them. The kind of New Orleans style brass band that you had at the annual
Oh, they're amazing.
Gala. And,
yes.
and I can't remember who was sharing the story with me that that some of them were busking around the nearest metro stop, right? And there was somebody from your team that started, was it, I don't know if it was you or...
No, it was probably Kristen Jackson, who's our director of connectivity. So this is Experience Band and Show. If you don't know these folks, look them up, go to their concerts, go and see what they're doing, support them. They're an incredible DC staple, and they came and they were part of our show, the Sensational Seaman Cats. I can say it now because there was a moment where it was a big surprise and the band came out, so I didn't really want to give it away before, but now since the show is done, they came out and they were the marching band in the show, and then we had this great event where they, I don't know, they showed up. They really did such a great job, and I hope to work with them in the future for sure.
Yeah, didn't they also during a performance took everybody out of the theater?
Well, that was a night that essentially the fire alarm went off.
That's right.
And oh my God, they did such a great job. So everybody had to I think it was like 15 minutes left in the show, and they had to evacuate everybody from the theater, and of course they start playing on the streets of DC
what
and
a cool
have
way
like
to
a
go.
wonderful party.
Yeah.
And then most of the people came back in to see the rest of the show, which I think the reason is because they were really so beautifully held by these artists during such a tricky moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, man. Artists are amazing, and DC artists are amazing.
Yeah. I wanted that on on the record.
Yeah.
Because I've asked a few other people about it, but that was one of those moments where I think it's just really amazing how Woolly has embraced so many local artists in different ways.
And more, please. We want to do more. There's no question about it. We just actually did a renovation, a sort of revitalization of one of our spaces, and made it, with the help of the Share Fund and Julie Jacobson, we painted it like a dark gray. We put up pipe and drape. We took down the drop ceiling. We have a grid up there, and now we have even a smaller little performance space. So there are 3 spaces at Woolly that people can use and come and be a part, of this community, the rehearsal hall, the main theater, and this smaller workshop space.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, before we close out, is there anything else you'd like to share about the next 4 shows, or hopefully the 3 weeks you're going to take a nap between the end of John and the beginning of the next
what I
season?
want to say is get your golden ticket, right? Because the thing is, we're going into our 45th anniversary season. There are amazing artists who are coming up, and I promise you, when we announce them, you're going to be like, oh, wow, I'm so excited. I really want to go to all these shows. And the reason why we decided to do this summer and fall lineup was just to actually just focus our attention and the attention of our base to the shows that are happening right now, and trying to cut through all the noise right now and say, come and join us and be a part of these great shows. And there are amazing artists coming in the future. So the golden ticket is one of those things which was our disruption of the subscription model in some ways. It's essentially a very flexible subscription. You come anytime you want, whenever you want. If you love the show, come many times, you know? And I think one of the things that I think about is like some people want to know what they're getting when they buy, you know, and they're like, I have to wait to actually know exactly what it is. And the thing is, when you're doing new work, you actually have to take a leap. You have to just step into the void with us a little bit, jump in, we'll hold each other's hand and give an incredible artist the chance to share their story, their most important work, the work that they really care about sharing with you. And sometimes that's hard to commodify in that way. And so maybe by being part of the Woolly community or the Golden Ticket community, you're actually really helping artists who are new and not known actually become known.
Yeah, you're putting them on the map and supporting our local theater scene, which is incredibly important.
That's
and the
right.
accessibility of theater as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks for
Wildside is
coming
amazing,
on.
and
Thank you, my
anything
friend.
that you want us to do, we're here for you.
Thank you. I'm just thrilled to be in your orbit and working together. So yeah, I'll do a little plug for hopefully something cool that we're going to do together later this year.
I would love it.
For those that missed our party last Saturday, but I thought that was a great collaboration. So excited for more.
Yeah.
So well, thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.